Okie dokie, guys. This is your guy, Mr. Evaluator. And what we're going to be doing today in this video is talking about the ground level supervillain and who is most likely to be a great villain to work with. A villain that will literally get the job done, no distractions, no interruptions, anything, and who successfully and has a big success in completing their missions, completing their tasks, and everything they have in mind. Okay, so we're gonna start off like there's some characters that I will literally be missing. Well, from Marvel side, I'm gonna be missing some characters, so it's because I don't know about them. So if you could possibly jot their names down and write their characteristics, I could do part two of this video. Okay, so okay, we're gonna start with Venom. Okay, so apparently Venom isn't a you know, like he's just a big monster. Uh a monster that likes to draw a lot of attention. So in this scenario, Venom isn't the guy to be working with. If you came out here to, you know, get him to rob a jewelry store, like he throws out too much attention and yeah, the job ain't gonna get done. So he's already a big X. Um we could talk about um Bullseye from Daredevil series. Bullseye is just an overconfident individual, always hits his target on the spot, but he's not a good he wouldn't accomplish a job. And the reason why he wouldn't do that is because he's literally overconfident about himself. And being overconfident about himself, you give Bullseye a job, say, hey, Bullseye, we're going to give you some henchmen. He's going to accept the henchman and he's going to take the job, and he's going to take the job all the way to a different country. Okay. And so the problem with that is he's going to be so good and so confident about what he's doing, right? He's going to literally kill off his own henchmen if he feels he doesn't need to use them anymore. And literally, he does this after the job. He's not going to do that during the job. He's going to do that after the job. Um, he'll literally come back and complete the task. But as far as that's like a small mission, but a big mission is to sneak into the heroes, sneak there and plant a bomb there. He's not good. He's not good at that. Because even if he has the best henchman with him, he isn't good with that. He's not sneaky, and he gets too nervous all the time. Like you can literally see it in him because he's so overconfident and too good about himself. When you give him a big mission like that, he's not gonna feel the need. He's gonna feel the need that there's no way I can do this without getting spotted. You know, he'll go in there and do it, but this is what he's saying in his mind. When he actually does it and winds up getting spotted, he's gonna go berserk and he's gonna take that person out. And he's not going to be able to keep it on him. So the next person he sees, he's going to take that person out. And then and then the next person, and then the next person, possibly as many as he can. And by that time, they notice that somebody's missing. Bam, there they go. And now the alarm went off. And now he's going to leave one of his henchmen behind purposely, take them down just so that they could get caught and leave all the mess. And he's not a good thinker. So by the time he comes back and finishes the mission, he left one guy alive behind. And next thing you know, the other guys from across the seas say, hey, this was the henchman. We finally got information from him. And he's going to literally bring that entire nation back to those guys. So, Bullseye is not a good villain to work with. He isn't a good villain to work with, man, because of the type of character he have. Next is Magneto. Um, Magneto has been going through a lot of emotional trauma. His daughter dying by the humans, and he's been through a lot in his life. So If he was given a big job, you know, he'll do it, but in the process of doing it, his henchmen must respect him. His henchmen gotta respect him. And like above all things, Magneto believes that he ought to be respected. He doesn't think he needs to be respected. He believes that he ought to be respected in a way where he better be respected. And so this is going to be a problem with the henchman. So the henchman is going to literally look at him like he's a total different person, and he's going to really put fear in him. And because he put fear in them, when they do the job, somebody's gonna mess up because of them being afraid and of what he does. And next thing you know, the mission goes wrong. He'll literally lose his mind, and he just wouldn't care anymore. So in this case, emotion is what literally, because of what he went through in his life, Magneto will literally lose his mind. And this is at the start of the mission. If you don't respect Magneto, there is going to be a literal problem, okay, in the process of this mission. He's going to make sure that you respect him, dude, because he's been through a lot. Like, he's been through a lot in his life. So he literally demands for people to respect him, no matter who they are. So in this case, he's he is not a good villain to work with. He isn't, because of the issues he have personally. And you know how they say, do not bring your personal problems on a job site. Magneto is one of them that does that. Okay, so next we will literally go to that's the other guy name. I'm looking on the screen, and if I happen to miss a Marvel character, it's probably it's because I don't know them, so, or know of them. Just go ahead and comment their name, okay, at the bottom, and just put down their characteristics, and I will tell you if they are a successful villain that will succeed and is a good villain to work with or not. If they are or not. Okay, so the next guy is Thanos. Okay, Thanos will get the job done, and he pretty much relies on he's not overconfident. He isn't too prideful. Like, he'll literally get the job done. But if it's a big job, like for instance, if it was a long job, if he had to go deliver some drugs or guns or whatever you want to say from one planet to another, and that planet was going to literally take him 20 days to get to, and even if he was going at light speed, it was going to take like 5 days to get to, well, 5 Earth days to literally get to, okay, he is going to literally buy some time. He's going to literally buy time, like literally buy time to do other stuff. So in this process, like while he's on the way to another planet doing his job, he's going to jump down to other planets or kidnap people from other planets and make them fight to buy him some time until he gets to the other planet. But the problem is about Thanos is Thanos will overdo it. Thanos will literally spend too much time trying to buy time before he gets to his destination. And it always happens. He will literally, and when he does this, he always lose sense. He always lose track of time, dude. Literally, like, Thanos literally is a rageful big monster. And like, he's just like, oh yes, do it. Do it. He just get too ground in with his pride, with what's going on. And next thing you know, he lose sense of the job. So now that the mission failed, you know, he's not going to care, and he's going to go back to doing what he did. So he's going to take that big old spaceship full of drugs. He's going to take that big old spaceship full of drugs and all of that stuff, and he's going to haul tail with it and won't even give a crap no more. So in this case of scenario, Thanos is not a good person to work with. He's not a good villain to work with. And I mean, he can be, okay, putting his mind as far as taking out the heroes, pretty much like planting bombs on the planet, but his problem is literally, you know, overdoing things. Not saying overdoing his mission, but he has a serious problem. Like if it's a big job and it's going to take some time, he literally has a problem with buying time, right? And if he does somehow get too bored in the midst of that, he's going to find some way to buy more time. And being distracted by all of this will literally allow him to miss his job and miss his mission. So in this case, he will make a good partner with a small job. Literally, he will make a good partner with a small job, but if it's a big job, he can easily get distracted. And when you come back there and say, "Hey Thanos, man, we have to do this," he's gonna literally say, "I already know what I'm doing." So he's gonna tell you to shut up, push you out, close the door on you, and go back to doing what he does. And right before that, he just loses sense of time. So, and the mission failed and he doesn't care anymore, so he's going to go about his way. So, he's good with the small jobs, but when it comes to a big job, Thanos is not the guy to work with. He'd be better off doing it by himself. And he'll literally know if he needs henchmen for the job or not. So, if you give him henchmen, he'll literally tell you if he needs them or not. And see, that's one thing Thanos would do up front. Like, he is sure, depending on what job, he'll literally get it done, but if it's a big job concerning time, he can lose sense of that at any given minute by getting overhyped by what's pretty much going on. Helicopter in the back. Okay, next person. He isn't a good person to work with a big job, but big and long jobs, but like a small job he can do. But after all, he is not a good villain to work with. Okay, he's not a good villain to work with, and like if you really push his buttons, like during the while you're disturbing him, busy time, he will buy time with you, and you guys will probably fight on that whole ship and lose sense of time. And next thing you know, everything's destroyed, and he's not even gonna care anymore. If the mission really means something to him, if it means something to him, if it does boil down to Thanos meaning something to him, he's gonna get his act together. But if it doesn't, he's not. So yeah, he's a bad villain to work with. He's a bad villain to work with. In this case, nobody would work with Thanos. Nobody. Okay. So I don't know if I. And then we got the Doctor with the 4 arms. You know, he's too powerful. So like, if you give him henchmen, uh, he'll literally take this henchman with him and literally tell you that he knows what he's doing, okay? And literally will get pretty much like Bullseye, overconfident. Like he'll get too hyped. Like, I know what I am. I'm a scientist. I'm smart enough to take care of everything. So when he does do that and something falls and it gets out of his control, he will pretty much kill everybody, right? Every henchman he has, and leave that one henchman responsible while he gets away. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. So in this case, if you went on a mission to fleet with the government, plant a bomb in the government or the Justice League building or Marvel Avengers, if he knows he could beat them, if Tony Stark was literally present, he's like, he'll show himself to distract them, but he'll literally claim and like play it off like I had nothing to do with this. It was really him. When it really was him. So like he's more of a getaway type of driver guy. And for a small task he can complete, but for a big job he get too powerful, and when the situation get out of hands, he's not going to be able to control it, so he's going to find somebody else to leave the blame. Okay. um yeah, so he's going to leave somebody else to blame, so he isn't a good villain to work with. So by the time they get back, he say, oh, it was his fault. you know he isn't a good villain to work with. Now, Uh, Doomsday is okay. So Doomsday is just a big monster. Okay, so now we have Darkseid. If Darkseid job was to go to another planet and plant a bomb, because he knows he's powerful and because he knows he's stronger than everybody on that planet, he'll say, I could destroy that planet with my bare hands and with his Omega beams. And it's also because, I mean, it's not a sense that he's strong. It's not saying that he's more powerful than as like the others. It's just in a sense where Darkseid just say that, like, I know that I could destroy a whole planet, but if it was a big planet, he wasn't able to, that he isn't strong enough to destroy, but a bomb was, he would literally go to that planet, plant that bomb and purposely show himself planting the bomb. Okay? Because Darkseid was known for doing this, and pretty much like Thanos, he'll want a challenge. And not even if it was 20 days, like the thing about uh what's his name, Darkseid, is that if he was given a long mission that was going to take him 20 days to wait on the spaceship, he's not going to do Thanos. He's not going to do what Thanos does. He's going to sit and wait 20 days to get to that planet. And when he finally makes it to that planet, he's going to plant that bomb and he's going to make sure everybody sees him. And when they do see him, then he's going to leave the planet and detonate the entire planet and blow it up to smithereens. And in this sense, like, Darkseid will literally show himself before he gives you, to let you know, I am the one that did this. So that's what make him a hardcore killer. But in this case, he will be a gangster. Okay? But the problem is that Trigon, not Trigon, Darkseid has to, like, he feels the need for people to know his name. He feels the need for that. And in this case, working with Trigon is, I wouldn't recommend, I don't think any villain in Marvel or DC will work with Darkseid, because Darkseid is crazy. Like, if you were to sell drugs, if he was given a job to deliver and transport some drugs to one planet to another, he'll wait on those planets, but he will literally negotiate some side missions, things that he will literally negotiate side missions and things that wasn't even told for him to do, you know. And he's gonna let you know up front he doesn't need any henchmen. And so when he literally negotiates with these people and they don't agree with him, he will purposely lead all of those people back to him, well, back to the people that gave him the jobs, just so that he could see them go to war with each other. And then he will finally unleash his power and probably kill everybody. And before he kills the last person, he will make sure they remember who he is. So in this case, Darkseid is a crazy maniac. You know, he is a crazed individual. And being like that, I do not think any villain would have the simple thought of doing a job with him. Like, he's the type of dude to literally stay away from. Now, I know Thanos is crazy by buying time, but all he's doing is just buying time. When he gets to when Darkseid gets to a planet, he's gonna make sure people remember his name, even when he's doing a job. So Darkseid will be way more crazy. But if Thanos is like that, well, actually Thanos isn't like that. But anyways, you know, yeah. So Darkseid is a gangster, a crazy maniac. Nobody would want to work with him. Okay. Now, finally, I can get to what's his name? Bane. Now, Bane is a very strategic and tactical individual. If he was given a job to transport 1,000 containers to another country, he's going to do it, and the job will be done perfectly. His job will literally be done perfectly. Like he's going to perfectly, his job is going to be done perfectioning. Like he will literally have Captain America. Uh, he will literally have. I'm just saying, like if Captain America was evil, he would have Captain America beat. This guy will literally have Captain America beat because first of all, when Bane is given a job, he answers to no one. Okay, so he's gonna make sure that he does not have somebody else telling him what to do. Like, this is what Bane is gonna literally tell the people, hey, I'm gonna have a say so in this. I'm gonna literally have a say so in this. But the thing about back with Magneto, like Magneto wouldn't be like that. But anyways, Bane is gonna make sure he answers to no one. Why? Because he knows exactly what he's doing. And the reason why we wouldn't say forearms would be like that is because, well, if he is like that, he'll literally overconfident, overpride himself about how much he knows, and literally, if the mission goes wrong, he'd lose his mind and run away and blame other people. But Bane, if the mission goes wrong with Bane, right, it'll still be in control. For some reason, it'll still be in control. Like if the ship sunk with thousands and thousands of their material, right? Bane will literally somehow, some way still deliver the message. So if he goes to them and bring them one container and they say, where's the rest? He's going to let them know that it's sunk in the ocean. So he's going to say, I'm going to do a side job to replace what was lost. Okay? And he is a very villain that will agree, that will actually negotiate some deals. So if there's people that isn't with it, that isn't with his negotiation, because he said, you guys lost $1 million, give me a job, I'll bring you back $3 million. And they don't want to negotiate with that. you know Bane always have a second plan, you know under his sleeves. And I'm not saying that he'll literally kill everybody. Bane will like literally let him know, this is your repercussions. He will literally bluff these guys. He will literally bluff these guys and they will fall for it. So if they don't fall for it, knowing Bane, he's a very tactical individual. So no matter how it does, they will literally be convinced. They will literally be convinced with whatever Bane says or brings to the table. Again, because he's a tactical guy. There's no way to say that Bane ain't gonna be able to talk to them. Well, a villain ain't go like somebody like Darkseid. Darkseid is literally open to negotiations, and if it's very reasonable, he is going to go in it. So as crazy as Darkseid is, and kind of obsessed Thanos is, if there was a reasonable deal brought to the table, if Bane give him a reasonable deal, like Thanos is gonna like, well, first he's gonna look at Bane, and then Bane is gonna literally continue to let him know and give him more information. And the more he tries to push it away, Thanos tries to push it away, Bane still comes with more information, and like there's no way that it's just like he's not talking like in a sense, well, I'll give you $5 million, and you say that you don't want $5 million. No, when Bane literally says like He's going to get $5 million. He's going to go in detail of how he's going to get $5 million. He's going to point out planets. He's going to point out locations. And there will be no way in the world anybody will literally turn that amount of information down. Thanos wouldn't even do it, or Darkseid wouldn't even do it. So in this case, they're going to take a job. They're going to give him a job, and he's going to bring back exactly what he said. And literally, he's going to negotiate with some other dealers to make money off of them and do a job for them and bring back 10 times more. And by the time he got another ship, he's going to come back with the same amount of money they expected to have when he brought back. And you know what? He's even on that. He's going to do another side job and make money for himself and negotiate with more. So by the time they find out that the sea was damaged and destroyed and everything sunk under, like literally, these guys will literally respect Bane. So all in all, but for those who don't and say, hey, all the ship contained, but Bane brought them back twice as much money, you know. And so they're not going to worry about that because they gave him 10 million and he came back with 100 million and gave us 90 million. Like, what the crap? So, like most villains wouldn't even pay attention to the job, but some of them that do, you know, that say, hey, you sunk our ships, Bane always leads with a contingency plan. So in case they try something stupid, he presses a button, the whole corporation gets disassembled. Well, dismantled. Okay? So, after all, Bane to the smallest job, to the biggest job, to the universe, Bane is definitely the guy to work with. He's definitely the guy to work with. And he's a very respectable guy, and he's going to make sure the job gets done. Lex Luthor, okay? Lex Luthor is pretty much, Lex Luthor is going to get the job done, but sometimes he get too crazy with what he does. And he usually negotiates, not as good as Bane, but he usually negotiates and offer reasonable things. So when he has a henchman and the mission goes wrong, he loses his mind. He literally loses his mind. Okay? So if he was not caught in to get caught, if he was going to go infiltrate a planet by not getting caught, he's going to do that. And like he's going to complete it. And as far as his characteristics, you know, Lex Luthor really doesn't care if there's people, if he have henchmen that's going to backtalk him. You know, he'll let them backtalk him and replace that guy with another henchman and throw that guy overboard. You know, so like he really doesn't care because he's always like ahead of his, like Lex Luthor is always ahead of his henchmen. He's ahead of himself. So in case something happens, he does it with a replace. Unlike Magneto, Magneto doesn't think like that. Magneto just say, you're going to respect me, I'm going to take you out. You know, that's what it is. If you don't respect me, I'm going to take you out. So Magneto is always ahead of himself. And Bane, before Bane takes the job, he literally sits it aside just to concentrate, speculate with it. And he has a whole world full of people. So this guy will literally like plot on this entire job. Like he'll literally do it. And this is the point of being prepared. So once he finally, you know, packed on the job, he'll take it. So if the job does go wrong with Lex Luthor, he will lose his mind. But as far as doing a big job and taking 20 days to go to a planet, like he will wait those 20 days. He will literally wait those 20 days and find something else to occupy him, not get carried away like Thanos. He will literally occupy himself. But when the 20 days is passed, by the 20th day, he be done got on there and completed his mission and came back. So Lex Luthor is known to getting the job done and actually succeeding in his accomplishments. But if the mission does go wrong, he's not going to be like Thanos and, the rest of them that be like, oh, well, screw it. No, he's going to search for help. And if he can't get no help, then Lex Luthor is going to lose his mind. And coming back with those other guys from the planet, he's going to say, nope, we finna go to war. And he's going to fight to take over their corporation because he messed up. And him making a mistake, he's going to try to fix that. And by fixing that, he's going to take over their corporation. Either he's going to do that to the people that sent him, or he's going to go on that planet to those people. And if technology is advanced, he's going to whimper his way in and pretty much work his way up to where he finally takes control over their weaponry, and mass advances. Then he'll force them off their planet and literally claim that technology his. So he'll pretty much come back with all the money with the other guys and show that I have my technology. I don't need to work with you guys. Take your money and let's go. And he'll just pretty much leave them behind. So all in all, sorry about that, guys. Lex Luthor is a good guy to work with. A good villain to work with, but you know, we're talking about villains, so I wouldn't say trust. He's a companion, good companion to work with. Okay, and small or big jobs. Okay, so um, next is Lobo. Lobo will not get the job done. If he does get the job done, like it's done so wreckful. Like the thing about it is that the job is done so wreckful with Lobo. I mean, like, Lobo cannot hide himself. He cannot literally not try to get caught. He can't, I mean, like, it's just like he's not a guy to work with. And pretty much according to the DC Comics, when you read Lobo, Lobo screwed over like thousands, well, not thousands of people. Lobo wound up screwing over almost everybody that literally worked with him. So, in this case, you can't trust Lobo and you can't work with Lobo. I mean, if you put him up with Joker, he's gonna even give Joker a problem. He's gonna literally give Joker a problem. Okay, so um, yeah, he isn't a good guy to work with. And then you got the Mr. Freeze. Well, I can't consider Bizarro because Bizarro's, backwards. He can't do anything. But Mr. Freeze does plan ahead, but he does it for the sake of his wife. In this case, he only does the mission if it's necessary. If the mission is necessary, that pretty much, or if it concerns helping his wife, or in any way, or if it concerns him regardless, you know, if it's necessary, he'll do the job. So in this case, Mr. Freeze would not do the job. I mean, like, he'll only do the job if necessary. So if it is necessary, Mr. Freeze will get the job done, like, perfectly, and like, there is no what if the mission flops and it goes wrong. Like, if because the job is done perfectly. Even Snart, right? If he was working with Snart, they will literally like Mr. Freeze strive for perfection. So the word going wrong doesn't even apply to him. Okay? And I can't talk about Brainiac getting the job done because Brainiac is just too smart for his own good. And he would say, I don't need to do no job. I have my own. So he will pretty much be an overconfident individual, but not, I mean, because confidence doesn't literally even apply to Brainiac. Confidence doesn't even apply to Brainiac. Brainiac is literally too smart for that. So in this case, Brainiac only uses himself and other images of himself. So in actuality, like Brainiac, like, no, let's just put him out the picture. He doesn't even need to, no henchman or anybody. He's just too smart for anything and everything. So, but um, that's pretty much everybody that I know. So, anybody else you like to reconsider? Oh yeah, and Sandman. Sandman ain't gonna do the job because he let his emotions get over him. And the problem with this is that if he was gonna go to another country and deliver some goods, like he'll actually do it. He is talkative. Well, not as talkative, but he is talkative with most of his henchmen, so he would necessarily get the job done. You know, Under any circumstances, he will literally get the job done with no problem. Um, Clayface is just Clayface can just go in and morph in people, you know, but he likes to do tricky stuff to the side. Clayface like to do real tricky stuff to the side, so he's a very sneaky fox. So pretty much like the other guy, you wouldn't want to work with him, and you pretty much wouldn't want to work with Lobo, you know. So, but the Sandman is a very honest guy, honest villain, and if he's doing a job, he's gonna get the job done right. But if it does go wrong, if the job does go wrong, Sandman to just be stuck in a situation, and pretty much like any other villain, he'd just fade away. He'd just run away, just go away from it and have nothing to do with it from the beginning. You know, literally, and he'll leave all his henchmen behind. So, yeah, that'd be crazy. So, yeah, and let alone Deadpool. Deadpool won't get no job done because he's just too hyped and too full of juice and energy. Oh no, I can't wait 20 days, or he isn't a guy to work with, because if you try to work with him, he'll get overhyped and just like to do stupid stuff, you know, and like the job will literally fail. It doesn't matter how good of a mercenary he is. If he's gonna import one place of drugs to another part of the country, without getting caught, he can't help but to literally show his behind. So pretty much almost like Venom, this guy's literally the same. So yeah, Deadpool's an idiot, and no villain would ever want to work with him. If they do, they're gonna use him to the fullest of their advantage. So when stuff go wrong, he'll be their shield. Yeah. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Mr. Freeze will only do the job if it's necessary. So if it is necessary, the job will get done, and there's no such thing as the job going wrong, because he strives for perfection and he's going to make sure it gets right. So if this ship got sunk, was about to sink, or they were being attacked, he's going to make sure that he's always prepared. In this case, Mr. Freeze is always prepared for any and everything. Literally, he's prepared for any and everything, and he always makes sure of that. This is why even when Batman fights him, he's always prepared, even for Batman. And that's the credit, I kind of give him, because some villains, like Mr. Freeze, is not the high level criminal, but he's like a low level criminal. Well, not low level. I'm just saying he's just like a normal villain, but he basically has that respect for always being prepared. Joker is prepared, but he's not as always. So that kind of really put Mr. Freeze above him. And Joker taking a job, he'll literally take it for a joke and do some other side stuff. Clayface, will pretty much do the same thing, like I said. So if the mission goes wrong, Joker would be like, oh well, it's all gone wrong. And he'll probably come back and kill everybody in that corporation. He always plans ahead too, but if there's nothing else to plan to on the side, he's just gonna fall back and just let everything bull with chaos. So by the time he goes to the other country with the drugs, he'll say, "Oh yeah, here goes the drugs right here." Eh, Knowing that the ship sunk with drugs, he'll just like rob and steal somebody else's ship and act like all the containers on there. He say, "Yeah, it's in the bottom of the boat," and he's gonna press the button and it's gonna blow the whole ship up. He'll like, "Oh man." Oh, excuse me about that. Excuse me. I'm sorry it took too long. He's gonna be like, "Oh man, press the button and blow up the whole ship," and be like, "Oh no, they sent us over here with these drugs and they tried to kill us with you guys." And he's gonna literally try his best to bring them over there, and he's gonna whimper his way around. So by the time they get to it and say that, "Oh, we didn't find no boats, we didn't find no containers," he's gonna literally convince them, "Oh, wait a minute, they said that we weren't allowed to go back down there," and he's gonna literally call the phone and make it seem like the guy he's talking with over the phone is the main boss, and he's gonna rearrange his words and like talk it to make it even sound like that that he was literally trying to kill them. So in this case, Joker's also a trickster. you know, he's more of a trickster than Lobo and Clayface put together. More than Loki is as well. So in this case, well, I kind of want to scale Loki. In this case, these guys will go to war with those guys, all because Joker rearranged the words and the situation was out of hand. So Loki, Loki doing the job. If he was given a job to go to one planet, deliver some items from one planet to another, Joe, he literally likes to he really likes to mislead people, you know. Um, but Loki would literally like take the job and do the job and joke around with it, you know, just to see what somebody else is gonna do. This is exactly what Loki would do. If you give him a big job and he accept that big job, he's gonna literally do stuff on purpose to make it just to hear them respond. I mean, sometimes if Joker planned ahead to do all of that, then he calls them and do, it at a random. But Loki doesn't do any planning, period. Loki just literally comes up with something and just does it just to see what's going to happen in return. Like Loki would, in this case, Loki would be more crazier than the Joker. And literally make himself seem innocent. So no villain would want to work with him or the Joker or Lobo or Clayface because all of these guys are just idiots. If they were all to work together to plant a bomb on the planet, they all would screw each other up. And Lobo wouldn't care. Clayface wouldn't care. And I mean, if they all was working with Sandman, they would literally get on Sandman nerves. If they all was working with Thanos would literally ejected all of them off of this ship. Like if they wouldn't even try Darkseid like that. If they was working with Darkseid, Darkseid would literally put them up against a wall. You know. And Mongul, he'll get the job done. The Emperor of War World. Deliver items from one planet to another. He'll wait those 20 days, deliver to one planet, but if the mission does go wrong, like he always have a plan he falls back on. I'm not saying he plans ahead, but he always have an option he falls back on. And that's called leaving the situation. And so when they get in contact with him and tell him what happened, he says, "I don't know what happened." And he's going to play dumb like he don't have any clue. So when they come back to the planet, he's going to be like, in this case, Mongo's not even going to care anymore. You know, Gorilla Grodd is too smart for the job. He don't need henchmen unless he can actually utilize them to get what he wants, to get something he wants to pull out of it. So yeah. So if Mongol was in the wrong place and his if the mission he accomplished, if something would have happened, gone wrong in the middle of the mission, he'd flee from it. Like if he was given a mission with Thanos and Darkseid, he would literally unexpectedly flee from it. Okay, while Thanos and Darkseid is on a ship. Okay, so when he does complete the mission, if he does, however, is in the process of completing a mission, you know, I mean, yeah, he pretty much do what Thanos did, buy time while he wait 20 days and going to those other planets. He's gonna literally plan that, you know, here's your drugs, but he's gonna literally cause chaos with the other people. Say, hey, there was a guy driving on the ship and he came from this planet, and literally let that planet go to war with another planet just for his pleasure. This was the whole purpose of him being, part of War World. He's gonna sit back and just enjoy, you know. So as far as I'm concerned, he is a very Mongol will be a very optimistic guy. He'd be odd. And, to being a villain, you might want to watch out for him, you know, because you would never know, like he wouldn't be the guy to literally you could actually work with, even if he was gonna do a small job. It ain't no telling what he'll do. So yeah, so that was mostly everybody. If you have, if there was some people that I haven't gotten, you can go ahead and put them in the comment section, write down their characters so that I can do a second video. Appreciate it, guys. This is Mr. Evaluator.